Don't get me going. Legal. So you can be afraid of the crime on the streets, and we really need to get rid of guns. Jiminy Christmas.
What's your solution to gun control then?
Take guns off the streets, make it illegal.
Who's going to take them and where are they going to go?
Who's going to what?
Who's going to take them and where are they going to go?
People will voluntarily give them away.
They do that in communities, Polk County
Not
does it
enough.
all the time.
And no one's pushing it. And I didn't see the gun company pushing it. And you know, I think a person who has a gun ought to have the same kind of training that I had for going to drive. And I think if you're going to have a gun, you need to license it and lock it up in your neighborhood gun lockup. So you can keep the guns out of the neighborhood. But you can get access to your gun. Yeah, I think we ought to regulate guns. Yeah. Am I crazy? We should regulate tanks, don't you think? Yeah. Though we don't. We're gun fetish crazy. We are gun crazy. Can anybody reconcile this gun culture with Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John? Where are our church leaders? All right, persuasive, what do you think? Maybe not viable, but entertaining? Okay, that's what I was shooting for. And if you're very interested, you're welcome to visit us at the Catholic Worker. And we need volunteers. We do.
Frank, you got 13 more minutes.
Oh, I do? Come on, guys.
Where are you guys located? I see there's a P.O. box here, but that's just for mail.
Yeah, we're located on 7th Street, right behind the Bethel Mission on 6th Street, 1310. 7.
Okay.
That's the main house. Eddie.
Well, you say that corporate farming isn't doing its job, and GMOs are detrimental to the soil and to the plant. What in the world how are we going to get our food if we have to depend on these people?
Well, I think what we have to do is, as a country, make a resolve to say we're going to get off of corporate farming. And the first way we're going to do it is let the people who are making the big profit off of it and say, the game's over, we're coming after your profit, not you. Yes?
So how are they going to decide that everybody's going to be equalized farming? Like, are we going
No,
to
hold on. Then I think you put in, there's a lot of people who want to grow food out here, who don't want to get into the row crop beans and corn seed. You make initiatives for them. You start increase these local markets. They're the ones that build on the Saturday markets. Start building a food system that feeds a local region on its own, and give breaks to people like that from the government who say we're trying to turn this whole ship around. I mean, like, you're asking me, how are we going to dismantle corporate agriculture? In the same way we're going to wean ourselves off of oil. Now, there's a couple ways to wean yourself off of oil. You can wean yourself off of oil and then make the corporations that are making all the money on the oil own all the other alternative ways to make energy and make profit. See, we got to let go of this idea that progress is attached to profit. Wall Street is the problem, as is oil. The survival of the planet depends on us stop using oil and stop being big. Small is beautiful. Small is the answer to the human race. And it's going to be, and look, the future's going to be painful no matter what we do. Because you can't stand on 10 billion people this way without major problems, sad. things ahead. Not much different than Jesus' day. I mean, I want you to know, Jesus lived in sad, awful times. If you were Jewish, this was not a time to live when the Romans were hunting you down and destroying Jerusalem and doing mass killings in major cities. Just saying. Yes?
Big change is hard, and it takes a long time, and it takes incremental steps. So with the agriculture in Iowa, it's very few small farmers anymore.
There's
It's all
actually
big
a lot of
corporate-
small farmers in Iowa.
Pardon me?
There's actually a lot of small
Not
farmers in there.
compared to all the corporate factory farms. All the cases.
You're right. The number-wise, there are a lot of small farmers. You're right. The
Yeah.
people who are farming most of the land are on those tractors, 85% of it all going to corn, soybeans, and cattle and pigs.
Right,
You're
right.
both right.
So,
You're right. The number-wise,
we've
For-
had a law in place that says it's illegal to go to these factory farms and take pictures of all the abuse that's happening there. And we've been fighting that for at least 5 years. And now it was just passed recently that that's no longer illegal, that we can do that.
Some
But go
people
ahead.
view it as abuse, but some people just, you gotta do what you gotta do to do your job. We can
gotta
talk
do-
about that and abuse and everything, but without corporate farms, we wouldn't have all the new innovations we need to provide for our world. Like without GMOs, we wouldn't have farming anymore. It's just a proven fact that they've benefited us more than they've hurt us. They might have hurted the world a little more, which I understand climate change and everything, and I do believe something needs to be done about it, but they benefit us and provide for the poor across the countries. And then without the corporate farms, we wouldn't have this new innovation to make farming easier. And for somebody, did you grow up on a farm or work on a farm growing up?
well, my grandfather, Italian guy, did a truck farm with horses. I hated it, wanted to get off. I was 1950s. We wanted to get off the farm. Every time he made us work, I just hated it. Now I understand the way I am now. He had everything right. I should have stuck with Grandpa. But he was kind of crazy too, so. Yeah, who doesn't have farm backgrounds? But what you're describing is
Well, it's
a
usually just,
continuation of the bigness. Now, if you think the bigness is a dead end, like I think bigness is a dead end. So, I'm gonna try to figure out a way to get out of it. But you don't think bigness is the dead end?
no, I think bigness is, they weren't a corporate farm at some point. They had to work to get to that point. So I believe they're fair. And I understand that it can harm us, and corporate farms do some bad things that they shouldn't do, but they have benefited us more. And I think it's interesting that people that have never worked on a farm, grew up on a farm, can make these decisions and decide what abuse is and decide what we should do with our crops when you haven't really experienced it. Because growing up, when I woke up at 5 a.m. to go feed my bottle calf and do chores with my dad, I saw everything.
Do you think the corporate guys at Cargill have farm experience?
Corporate guys?
Cargill is a global food company. It's one of those global food companies you need to have a global food system. Do you think Cargill cares a damn about what's going on?
I know that they have to have some sort of agriculture background, that go to schooling to learn about it. I bet most people that are passionate about agriculture go
Well,
to
don't you
work in
think
it.
that the Iowa State place is biased towards science-based, capital-based corporate ag? And the way I would explain the GMOs things, like people get excited about GMOs, the horse is out of the barn already. As long as we continue basing oil as our way of moving things, making things, we're killing ourselves. Global agriculture is all about oil. Yeah, the GMOs are sort of, now this is really, World War II, the way we won that war is the United States and the Brits bombed the hell out of cities in Germany and Japan. One night they bombed Tokyo so bad in August of '44 or something like that, a quarter of the city was eliminated. Tokyo like 8 million people. They decided to bomb Hiroshima and Nagasaki because they were small cities that had not already been bombed. So, we're complaining about GMOs, as well we should. It's sort of like the bomb for destruction. But the farm scene that's produced GMOs has already got us in the box of hell because it depends on oil. And it's everywhere. And it's not just the farmers, the city folks. Oil is everywhere. We gotta figure out how to get oil out of our sidewalks. Folks. All right. And this ain't no crazy wacko prophet from the 1st century. These are people today. These are young people today. I have a dear friend who's doing 8 years in jail because she dared to try to protect water from an oil pipeline.
Yeah.
Name's Jessica Resnicek. Oil's the problem. GMO's a sideshow. Wall Street's the beast. Powers and principalities. It's a great line of Paul. I really like it. Yes.
I have a question. So, I think how, from your perspective, saying like we should rebel against corporate farming and all of that, how from reading the Bible, how did you come up with that that's our solution?
Well, when I read it, I was just not a very learned person at all. I told you, it was like at school, at college, and I was really excited about Jesus. So I just read Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Started there, and that's what surprised me.